All right, let's do a quick mic test. Testing. I think I got it. Which means I can... Hold on. There's a delay. It doesn't matter. I'm going to lose the headphones. Hey, welcome to the Underground. Whoa. Here we are. Of course, now I missed the audio. I should probably turn it off before it does some kind of loop over there. My friend Darren hates it when I talk about technical issues. So guess what I'm going to do? You're going to notice today that there are some changes. First of all, not my mic. This is on loan. After all my complaints, friend of, well, my dad. He works in production. I'm not going to lie. My dad helped me out. He let me borrow this and did some tests. It's a very different setup for that. Also, we got a range of changes that I hope make everything more visually appealing. Also, drink water. Sorry, Darren. We're going to get into one more thing. There is... I did a camera flip in this thing because Kickstarter weights all of their visuals to the left, which meant even though I'm looking to my left and to camera right, it doesn't play. It covers up stuff, and I can't switch the physical camera because I'm not going to show you what's over there. That is not good. So, let's get into it. Not a lot of news this week, so we're just going to blow through that. But quite a few Kickstarters. Had to really vet through this. Also, I have another production note. I've dramatically altered the system. So now I have to... I'm doing a preview and live throw so that I can set some things up beforehand and then throw them live. So like now I'm going to show you that what our first Kickstarter is. And then as you can see, I kept it. I have the Go RPG in the corner for you, so when I scroll down and all this, you don't lose track of what the heck we're talking about. Also, I'm going to appear up in this little corner here when I decide to talk. In fact, I can show you that right now. Oh, look, there I am, but reversed. Not that you care, but it's just one of those things. And so, let's throw back. So, this week, first one up is Go RPG. Now, hold on, I want to check something here because I got a special pointer highlighter that I don't think is streaming. So we're going to pause because my delay has to catch up because, you know, that's how this stuff works. And you couldn't see me make little eyes at the camera. Okay, so the pointer doesn't function on the stream. So there you go. There's our first technical failure. So I'm going to disappear now. But you can see I got a pointer that halos the... I'm sorry, I didn't get a pointer that halo. I got a halo for the pointer to hopefully make it easier to see it. But c'est la vie. Let's get into our notes. So, Go RPG, when I first pulled it up, only had 10 backers and $302, and that was the day of. So they're already through their target. I bring this game up because first of all, I love the art. Also, they did a lot of really, really good things with their campaign. Before we do that, I'm gonna... Oh, look, crazy! There's all kinds of new things going on. Let me scroll down to make this seem less weird. There we go. See, I scaled it to fit. I want to do a little blanket statement here. Across the board, I feel like in the previous episodes, I kind of harped on being the clarity of the writing, as well as, maybe get a proofreader, and because there was lack of clarity. There's just a lot of needless mistakes, and I feel like in the intervening time, like everybody who was making a Kickstarter was like, screw that guy, and they just went double down on all of it. So I'm just gonna blanket statement here that everybody needs to do a little more work. Okay, guys, you gotta proofread. Okay, and I'm not gonna single anybody out. Okay, but it's almost universal. We have quite a few to go through today, and believe me, the ones that we're going through, I culled nearly double. So we would have had twice as many, but I go through and I pick out the ones, things that I'm interested in. And I tend to not, things that are already doing okay, I generally don't talk about those unless it's, I have something to talk about when it's so crazy over the top. My point is, not everybody that we're going to discuss today needs to do more proofreading, but almost everybody does. So that's my one blanket statement. All right, so now I'm going to free you of my face. So this Go RPG, I love this art. Okay, let's scroll down. Look at this. Okay, this is gorgeous. They're doing. So what's the concept, right? So this is. Here we go. This is a good thing. They tell you right off the bat. It's to give you a Pathfinder vibe, even when you're forced to play Go Fish with it. That's basically what this thing is. This is a giant deck that's like a more advanced version of Go Fish, and it's actually really neat. And the story behind it is apparently that the guy built a deck and was basically playing Go Fish with his kid with this stuff. But then they found some ways to make a sort of real game. It still boils down to high card, but in a really interesting way. Oh my! Look at this art. Is this not fantastic? Truly. So yeah, so I really like these guys. They're doing a really good thing here, and they even have like a. So there's several different decks that you can get, and then there's like this little campaign mode, which really just kind of boiled down to just playing multiple times with. And getting, like, I think it's like 3 or 4 wins is the thing. But you can also just play regular Go with it. But what I really like is, I think, based on what they have shown, that if you can learn to replace the deck symbols, or that's not the phrase, the suit symbols. There's 4 suits. There's 4 decks, each have different suits. If you could replace the suit symbols in your head with these, you can basically play cards with this stuff. And I like that they didn't go with classic suits, because come on, this is sci-fi and fantasy. You got to lean into it. But anyway, really liked this particular one. Beautiful, not expensive. Like, per deck. That's the early bird. So yeah, $20 for a single deck. But if you want to get all 4, you could. But I mean, $20 for a deck of incredible art, and also I think you get access to you can do the P&P rulebook, and I probably should have checked more. I checked a little closer, but I think that you can do this on tabletop. Maybe not. Maybe I just saw all this technology and I just assumed that they could. I need to stop talking out of turn there. So, next up. If I'm honest, I think it needs to do a little better than it's doing. So in the past couple of days, it's only gone up like 1,000, 20 backers. This is... Okay. this is tile laying, but it does two things that I think are really cool. So so first of all, I want to point this out because it's very funny. You see this animation that they're doing? We're going to watch it cycle. Okay, look how fast this happens and then cuts. Wait, what? And it happens, and then something's changing, and then this goes, oh, wait, a cut. Right? It's too fast. Okay? But what's hilarious is they know this, and let me get to it. And so they said, can you do those opening animations slower? Sure. And so here they are. So like they anticipated the complaint and they compensated for it. I think that's very funny. I love their ability to kind of poke fun at themselves, which is great. So there's two things that this does that I think are really clever. So the way it goes, you lay out tiles, you get your little pattern, lay out the tiles, and then you choose a direction to go. But then when you choose that direction, so say you went this way, okay? Well, then what happens is you keep these three, and then you remove these three, and then you draw three more and put them there. So essentially, the play area will always be these 7 tiles. And first of all, I love that because it saves on space, right? And as we all know, table space is at a premium. Now, there may be the mild inconvenience that you keep having to shuffle the pieces to rearrange. Of course, alternatively, you could just go back the other direction, right? So that's the one thing I think is really cool. Great methodology. I've never seen that before. Not saying it hasn't happened. I've just never encountered that. The other thing they do, which is a really excellent methodology for making this game replayable, is whatever direction you go. So looking at this individual space, when they landed here, the way it works is you look at the corners that you're on, right? So you got 6 corners. And if in each corner, if the color of that corner, if it's the only color, then it's 1 point. But if there's 2 colors, if it's 2 colors, it's 2 points. And then if it's all 3 colors and it's 3 points, I could be wrong on the point system, but that's basically the concept. And then what happens is, but it's colors, it's points for that color. So in this scenario, you're going to get 1 yellow point, and here you're going to get 2 yellow points, and here you're going to get 3 red points. So then what happens is the space you're on has an encounter card, and let's go get an encounter card to show you. Okay, I know. Here we go. So the encounter cards have 3 different possibilities. So depending on what the highest point tally is, that is the encounter that you're going to deal with there. And which means any single tile, you're going to have to encounter 3 different times to get all of it. And I don't know, I think there's like 60 or more tiles. I don't know. Let me double check because I'm talking without out of turn again. I think it was right up here. 42 tiles. Okay, so 42 tiles with 3 possibilities on each. That's going to take you a while to get through all that. I think that is great. They do a similar thing in Arkham Horror where, depending on the outcome of the encounter, you read a different result, which, again, very interesting. That's a little more lore directed, whereas this is like, this determines what kind of encounter. So it could be combat if it's red, or some kind of negotiation thing when it's yellow, and then green is like finding, getting stuff, looting, that kind of stuff. But what is cool, the final bit of this is that the whole time you're being chased by a horde, and you're looking for a place to stop running. So these little counters here represent this horde of zombies that's chasing you. So depending on what kind of encounters you take and which direction you go, that horde can build and swell, and you got to get ready for it. So I really, as zombie games go, this is doing a lot of things that I like. And I don't know. I got a thing for hex stuff, but not like hex based boards. I find those unbelievably tedious. But like a game with big chunky hex, wow, hex tiles that I can throw down. Oh, rearrange, move around, and look they got all this great art on them, kind of indicating what's happening there. It gives you kind of feel for what's happening, and even though it doesn't really blend well, it doesn't matter because it's like regions. I think it's great. What are they sitting at right now? So they need to get double this to survive. So let's hope that happens. Next up. This, and I just threw it up, but particularly something that I would bring up. I don't buy these things. I don't buy that, right? So you got a little staircase going up, and you got a little room with a door, and this over here. But then, wait, you can add another layer, right? And because of the way these things were built interior, there's a hole in the floor for a staircase, and then wait, keep stacking. You can get 4 high, 6 high. Anyway, I want there to be more of these in the sense that I want there to be a variation. Like, this is amazing for what it is. This is great. Get like 4 or 5 of these things, like 2 or 3 stories, and you can make a great little town. But I want this company. It's a company? Yeah, it's a team. I want this company to succeed because this stuff is great. And if there could be more buildings, I mean, imagine with this concept what they could do making a castle. Now, again, I don't do this stuff. I don't have the space. It gets far too expensive for me, but I love the concept. And I can see, I've watched those videos and seen those pictures of those people that have those basements just where it's, a 12-foot table that is an entire kingdom, and as much as like pulling out a measuring tape and moving things and rolling dice for that, just the thought of it starts to make me yawn. I can appreciate what they're doing. It's not my type of game, but I can definitely see someone getting into it. If 2 currently, gonna be a 3rd Star Wars tabletop miniature thing for little guys moving around. You can make some giant maps for them. I can't do it as much as I love Star Wars. Again, it's an expense that I am not going to balance. But these guys are doing some really cool stuff, and this stuff gets really popular. I cannot believe that it's sitting at only $235. This is great design work here. I think this visual up here I think the background could be a little more suited to the style of housing that they're creating, but still, here and get something for that. I mean, because it's just STL, so even if you just hold on to the STL files and do it later, what is it? It's $9 for the whole thing. Yeah, I think this would be a really cool and I don't know. I like little things. Anybody who's into these kind of things, this is a great little find, right? And if you back these guys, there's a very strong possibility that they're going to be able to produce more. But they are Italian, so I couldn't ask them. So find somebody who speaks Italian to reach out to them and see what their plans are. All right, next. For me. And again, I see there's too many things moving. Whoa. And what happened? Oh, so Hex & Co. So this is like I said, is a massive departure from anything that I typically would talk about. It is a gaming location in New York City. So, I mean, they already hit their goal, so they're fine. And I like the idea of getting your fan base on board to, support your location. This is good. What I think it's a difficult Kickstarter to sell, simply because Kickstarter reaches a global audience, but this isn't something that can ship anywhere. You literally have to be close to Manhattan to be able to enjoy whatever you backed here. Of course, you could just be really nice. Let me see. I took notes because that's what I do. So, one of the reasons I did this is they're going to build this thing or not going to build it. I think it is built. No, this is it. Yeah, so they're opening a third location. They're already doing that, and they're looking for some funding to, just make it a better opening. But the reason that I really brought this up is because they're making it in Union Square in downtown Manhattan, and I spent 2 years of my life working at a theater in Union Square, and it just happened to be a fantastic portion of Manhattan. And I just got lucky enough to be able to work there. I always loved Union Square. It was like the jumping off point between the weird, isolated elements of deeper downtown, that were just above the financial district. And then right before you got into all the apartments and weird, overly expensive department stores that went above Union Square. It was like a nice it was hipster before that was a thing. Because what I'm talking about is when I was there was, 20 years ago. So anyway, I love the concept of getting your people to support you, but I feel, and so one of the reasons I brought this up, I thought it would be good to make a suggestion, which would be, should they be listening, that if you're going to go to Kickstarter, take advantage of this national, potentially international audience, and offer up something for them. And so here's where I'm just throwing away my ideas to people. If they're making a place where you can game, which that's the plan here, it's a place where people can come in and they can borrow games, to play, get some coffee, get some tea, hang out, have a private event space. Well, here's the thing. You want everybody to back this. How about give something back to everybody? Like start a live YouTube channel where you show, bring in some actors. I mean, it's New York City. I mean, throw a rock, you're going to hit an out-of-work actor. Bring some people in. Do some D&D. Start a little D&D company that, a Critical Role. There's just last week we were talking about Acquisitions Incorporated. There's a space for that, or there's something, I saw a thing recently. It's D&D improv, where they're playing D&D in front of an audience, but they take, whose line is it anyway? They take suggestions from the crowd and they have to incorporate it. I mean, there's a lot of things there, but basically what I'm saying is, if you're going to ask a bunch of people that aren't necessarily invested to fund you, provide something that they would be invested in. I think you would get a ton more money if you were offering something for people to watch regularly. Or I'm crazy. What do I know? Let's move on. And I didn't change the screen again. See? What are you going to do? I have a weird thing for these advent calendars. I think they're okay, I love advent calendars in general. I do. And every year I get a Lego one or something else related to that for my kid. Last year he got a Lego one and a Haribo gummy thing, which don't do that because it comes from another country and you don't know when they made it and when it arrived. And if you buy it in November, it might have been sitting around since August, and I'm pretty sure that's what happened, and none of those gummies were very soft. It was a very unfortunate experience for my kid. But he had a Lego advent to make up for it. But anyway, I love advent calendars. I love the idea of a dice advent calendar. But here's my caveat. So there's 4 in the base set, and then I think there's also 4 in the other set. It's just that they're 2 of them are made of different materials, with different color palettes, which is all fantastic. I got nothing bad to say about that. My only thing is, since it's dice and they're coming out after you've seen one of each of the types, you kind of know what you're getting. So then I guess you're just sort of waiting until the advent calendar is over to use them. So from that perspective, that's where the advent calendar concept kind of failed me. Now, if it was just wildly different dice, then I'd be fully on board with that conceptually, right? Like, I'm sure there's a way that you could make 4 different sets that are unique and each of them is clearly a set, but each of each one of those die is like wildly unique within the color scheme or whatever you're doing. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe like I've seen those like clear dice that have like a little tiny thing inside, like a little skull or some bones or like a little frog. So maybe there's a whole set that has stuff inside it. So that means every time you open it up, you're not only going to get a new die, but you're going to get a die with something unique inside it. That I would find more appealing. Again, that's just me. I'm not a dice head, okay? Which you're not going to believe me before this is over, but seriously, I'm not a dice head. But I feel like that would be a little more engaging. I actually have another suggestion for the dice advent calendar concept, but I'm not going to say it out loud because as soon as I do, someone else will do it. And I want to make a dice advent calendar with my idea, and so I'm not going to give that away. I'm sorry. But, look for my dice advent calendar sometime next year on Kickstarter. I'll clearly be pushing it. One huge positive for this thing was I was like, when I looked at the cost over here, so let's throw to that. Nope, that's the wrong throw. There you go. So we can see this a little better. The cost here, $38. Oh no, that's not the one. Where is it? Okay, so this is like $56. You get the whole thing with a sticker and a coin and a holographic. Like, I don't care about stickers. That's not my thing. But anyway, the point that I'm making is, I thought $56. I was like, wow, that's a lot for dice. I'm like, well, there's a metal coin, and we all know I like a metal coin. But I thought that was exorbitant, and that just goes to show you. I don't know squat, because literally the next day I went to my FLG and talked to the owner, who he himself had just commissioned some unique dice with his store's logo on the highest number. And he was explaining to me the cost involved. I was like, oh, yeah, I don't know jack. 56 USD for this. Let me give you a... I'll go back to that. 56 USD for that is fantastic, actually. For four sets, like, he basically put me in my place. This is an incredible deal. So I'm willing to learn is part my message. Second message is, hey, this is apparently a really good deal. And if you're into dice, and I love an advent calendar, come on, it's fun. Every day something new, right? They've already succeeded, which is great. But hey, success comes in a lot of levels, right? Let's see if we can. Let's help them out, guys. All right. So next. It's mostly true. Don't get me wrong. See, and I didn't. This is the problem. There's too many moving parts right now. What I need is I need like a checklist for each scene, or I need a producer over there in the corner. This, I don't love dice. I don't collect dice, but I do have some dice. Like when they're unique and interesting, I'm on board. I backed a couple years ago. I backed these clear, like I think they're like 56 millimeter square D6s that were etched with like basically they were gelatinous cubes. That's what they were. They were gelatinous cubes, and they were huge, and they were actually dice. So like the skulls that were buried inside them were actually the numbers, the pips on each side, and so it functioned as an actual die. But also, if you wanted some tabletop miniatures for your game, it physically functioned as a gelatinous cube. I couldn't resist. It was just such a great concept. Anyway, they have cleared at 82. Let me see here. Oh, it wasn't in there. So I like the idea of a giant bouncy die. I think that is cool. Look at the size of those things. Let's see if we can play this. Look at that. Dude is legitimately bouncing the die. Now, obviously, I wouldn't recommend doing that too much because I don't think they're really meant to survive that for too long. But maybe they are. Or, get some extras because it's $20 for a giant die that functions. I don't know. It's fun. 55. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's pretty much the size of the... So I guess I was right. 55 was the size of my gelatinous cube. That's about as big as it was, except it was hard acrylic and clear green. Oh, I don't know what my thing is with clear green stuff. Anything. I love anything that's just clear. I can't explain it. Anything like clear, like transparent plastic that colored. I love it. Like those are the best Lego pieces, right? Come on, we all know that. They're also the first ones you lose. All right. What we have here, they are now successful, but I mean, they only asking for 108, so good on them for making sure they would be successful. But also, this is a roll and write. Everybody knows I love a roll and write. Absolutely love them. And this one has some... Okay, so this is just... This is just the facts. The best kinds of games are the ones that give you difficult choices. If you always know, like, if the solution or the next step is always simple, then it's not fun, because then you're just going through the motions. It's like Marvel Champions. If you play with Doctor Strange, you don't really need to worry about building a great deck because he's just so OP. It's just going to work. And if in a game, like in a deck building game, if you know that there's always, like say you're playing Ascension, and there's always like these one or two paths that you follow because as soon as that card hits the table, you always get it, and because it always works, that becomes boring. So difficult decisions are what make great games. And this game has them. So just as a quick side note, I have read the instructions for every game that we are going to cover. I even read the instructions for the dice. It was a lot. It was a lot of reading. And some of it wasn't enough, and I needed extra help because some of these things are like in a beta state. But I read this one, and I was hooked. Okay, so essentially, okay, this is great. So you roll 3 dice, okay, and then you add up the total of 2 dice in order to take an action. So as you can see here, like, let me roll this up. You can see there's a 3. So if you get a total of 3, you can do that. And if you get a total of 8, you can do that. On a 9, 10, or 11, you can do this. Okay? So the first 2 dice, and you choose. It's entirely up to you. So the first 2 dice you add together to take the action. Then the third die is the pattern in which you can take that action. And that is awesome. Okay, I've never seen anything like that, and I am into roll and writes. I've never seen a roll and write that was like, hey, follow the pattern of the die. Okay, so you follow the pips. I thought there was an example visual. Maybe I passed it on the way. Sorry for scrolling so much, guys. Yeah, there isn't. So it must have been in the rule book. So here's an example of things you do. So the game starts with these 4, like all the sheets have these 4 walls. And if you can like wall off a whole area, that creates like a whole new set of points. And then when you get people, the people can either be builders, fishermen, or lumberjacks, and designated by the B, the L, and the F. And then they can only gather resources from adjacent locations once a turn. They can only connect once, except for the lumber that's once ever. Lumberjack cuts it down. That's why there's a red line through it. That stuff is over. The fisherman can fish, but I think the rule is if you fish from a location, I don't think like if you put a fisherman, or maybe you can double fish in the same spot. I'm not entirely clear on that one. And then, but in order to have a builder or a fisherman or a lumberjack, you have to bring a person in, and then you have to build a home for them. So this is this constant twisting decision making where but you have to build in all of the locations. So if you decide you're going to build, put up trees. Okay, so if you roll a 6, you can put up 2 trees. You roll a 7, you can put up 3. But if you get super lucky and you roll a 3, 4, and a 5, well, then you can build triple trees in a 5 shape, a quincux, if you will. So you get all of that, which makes it really easy to put in people, slot them into those little corners to gather all of that. Okay, but for every person, you got to build a house, and so it's this constant trying to figure out who goes where and make it fit within the pattern on the die you're going to use. And then you're going to run into these turns where like you need that 4. Like I need to use that 4 for the pattern, but dang it, I have 2 3s and I need 7. Like I want to do a 7. And so you can't do that pattern. So you got to do the 3, and now you're hosed, right? So this is tons of difficult choices all the time. Like that's all this game is. I think that's great. And it's a print and play roll and write. So there it is. $4. $4. And I really think this is a great one. Like these guys really put together a great concept here. Not that I'm really telling you anything you don't know, but, it's called Chiefdom. I'm sorry. I should have thrown to that because I'm silly. There you go. So I think is a great one. Dirt cheap. Great design. I like the Pacific Northwest / indigenous peoples kind of vibe that they got going here is it's beautiful. Everything about this is a win. They deserve more than $1,000 for this amount of detail and work, I think. with anything about the Kickstarter on offer. Look, it's great. Again, I know this is a weird week. This is the third or fourth thing that is not an actual game. But what you don't know about me is I love Jeeps, and this is STLs of World War II Jeeps of every make and manufacturer, up armored. There's even like one of the, they have the flamethrower version. We got the MASH versions with stretchers, the tow. I think these are from previous. No, it's not. This is the first grade. Oh, this is just extra. They've never made anything else. I don't really understand this pre-supported and unsupported thing. Apparently, it's important. I don't know how to use a 3D printer, so I mean, I can gather that supported is just like in this visual, that it builds a structure to hold it in place. I don't know why you would want to create something that was unsupported, but I guess the less it's supported, the less plastic you waste. So I don't know. I cannot speak to that, and I will stop even trying. But look at this. The stretcher. Look, we got the rear-facing machine gun, the double mount on the front. Look at this. We got the walking wounded. These are great. And yes, I did make that specifically for this. I'm sorry. I love Jeeps. I used to have a Jeep. I no longer have the Jeep, and I'm sad. But this is so cool, and these things are so detailed. Look at all of this, and it's in there. Like, it's really in there. This is no joke. These are really good. And, you know, it's STLs. I don't think they even offer... yeah, this is all just STL files for you to make it yourself. But, oh, look at that. It is so good. Here you go. There's the flamethrower one. Awesome. Not unlocked yet. Right. See that? So this is where the issue. It's not a lot unlocked. These are great. This guy, I mean, again, this is a limited application, right? I mean, I don't know how many games. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of games that are set in World War II. I know there's plenty because I keep trying to avoid them. But this is really high quality stuff, man. They deserve a little bit of love, guys. Come on. Sorry, I'm gonna. You know what? Bye bye. Now you only have to listen to me drink. All right. So, what is our next one? It is. Let's take a look at this guy. They're doing great, right? They had 363 as their goal. They're at $3,000. They're doing well. They have a ceramic version, which would be the one I would get if I were to get this. Okay, this is again a game of difficult choices, right? So what you gotta do is you gotta lay out your flowers. Oh, let me go down here. So you lay out your flowers, and then I don't speak Japanese. I read the rules in English. You lay out your flowers, and then the tiles are laid out, I think, randomly, and you flip them over. And then every turn you can rotate one tile, and you win when you get one plant to the life-sustaining water. Okay, this is not a big complex game, obviously, but it is a beautiful and well-designed game that would look great on a coffee table, right? I mean, that's literally its purpose, is to be something attractive to sit, in your living room when you have guests, and they can mess with that while, you're making coffee or whatever, or pouring some drinks. Like, they got something to do. And it has like some little extra bits. So like you can slide the tiles. So the way that works is you pop in the direction you're going, you pop that one out, slide the rest of them over, and put it back over here. right? So there's a lot of fun little ways to strategize here. But look at that. Oh, come on. And tell me you wouldn't love just seeing that on your table for somebody to play with when they come over, just to mess around, keep themselves occupied. So they have a print and play version, which I'll be honest with you, it's not a very complex game. I wouldn't. Well, it actually would probably be really fun for kids. This is not like super challenging. It's just fun. But for a kid, this would be great. It's not expensive. I mean, the acrylic version is $15. Okay. And then the ceramic one is only $37. I got to be honest with you, I don't know how that's possible, to be perfectly frank. That is really cheap for, I'm gonna guess, screen printed ceramic tiles. I imagine the shipping is gonna be at least as much as the item, but then still, you're at like $60-$70 for a wonderful little piece of art that goes on your table that's also a game. I think that's a slam dunk. I am highly in favor, if you couldn't tell. This has been one of the easier things I've ever had to recommend, because as soon as I saw there was acrylic and ceramic, I was like 100% on board. Let's move on. Except I'm not on it because I keep screwing this up. I don't know why it jumps down. It's really weird. A lot of times when you first open a Kickstarter, it skips past. So, solid recommendation here. I'm just going to state it up front because I love this guy. This dude has made so many things that are on my shelf that I love. His background is mostly with Tiny Epic, that entire series. So he made Galaxies. You know what? I'm not even going to pretend. Here we go. I got the list. You ready? Galaxies, Defenders, Dinosaurs, Dungeons, Kingdoms, Mechs, Pirates, Crimes, and Tactics. Okay? So every one of those is a Tiny Epic whatever. Tiny Epic Dungeons, Tiny Epic Dinosaurs. This guy made all of those. What is probably even scarier is that that's like only half of their catalog. But I back those every time they come out. They fit in a little box. They're great. This guy designed those. He designed Galaxies, which if you have not seen Will Wheaton's tabletop playthrough of Tiny Epic Galaxies, you are doing yourself a disservice. Go look it up. It's like 12 years old now. It's fantastic. It gives you a great insight into it, and there's some really good guests. It is such a blast. It's a great tough choices game, and that's what this guy does. I'll be perfectly honest. I didn't read deep into the instructions on this one. It's kind of like another FTL. So you're going through a map, right? And so here's your map, and you got to plot your way through, and then each location, something has to happen. What I found personally interesting is you have to collect this crew, and so you have to hire officers, red shirts, and robots. And the robots, okay, they will let you change a die. So if you build one of these robots, you can change a die roll to whatever this robot has on his chest, which is just an adorable little mitigation mechanic. You got your little 3-pip robot, and he's going to go over there and flip that die for you. Love it. The officers give you abilities to and make changes. You got a ship, and then you have to upgrade the ship. You got to get better crew so that you can make it across the galaxy. And I'm assuming you got to take on some bad guys. That's the part that I didn't really get to, because I was already sold on the earlier stuff, and this guy has not failed me yet. I am on board with this game. I think it's great. What is he doing for? So look, this is seriously, the pedigree of this designer really... Okay, so obviously they've cracked the ceiling. They're going to make it. Okay, and 834 backers, that's a lot of people. Okay, which shows you that they're not charging much for this. Okay, $7 for it, and that's it. Look at that. Oh, I'm sorry, you can't look at that because I'm a doofus. Look at this. $5. That's it. Everybody's here. Oh, sorry, £5 or euros, I guess. No, that's a pound. $7, and you get a top of the line roll and write from a fantastic designer. And this is what it's killing me. This guy has... Okay. We're going another direction here. So here's... You know what? We're taking this serious. I don't know what's happening here, but I want to venture a guess. This guy has made so many games for somebody else, and I think that this must be one of his attempts to strike out and do something for himself. And he's so good and prolific, it is just boggling my brain that this isn't more popular. The graphic design is stellar. The game, the mechanics are solid. You got dice mitigation. You got, improvement. There's even like a module where you can build your own ships and design your own specialized crew. Come on, he makes you a game designer with him. It's fantastic. I mean, on the one hand, there's no overhead for this. He's already made it. So once this thing is over, it just goes straight to you, right? It's just a PDF that you can do whatever you want with, right? Well, not whatever. You can't sell it. Let me walk that back. Which you can then print yourself. But $5,000? Like, is that even going to pay? I mean, he's not the only one here. This isn't even like a month's wages for these people. You know what I mean? This kills me that this guy is trying to make it on his own, and despite the fact, I mean, he is succeeding here, but it's not enough. There's just nobody's looking. Okay, so that's what we're here for, right? That's what the Funderground is about. Let's shine a light on these guys. This thing should be 20, 30, 40 grand. This one game should be able to sustain him for the year so he can make us some more games, right? Where is everybody? And I don't know if maybe he needs to offer more so that he could, a couple more things in it so he could bump it up to 15, right? I think like $15 would be like a sweet spot for a roll and write, a print and play roll and write that you could, it's multi-layered, right? $15 would probably be the max that I would spend on something that there's no box for. But then it would, it would have to come with some stuff, some extras. But he could do that. I mean, the guy's got the talent. So maybe that's the right way to go, because at $15, I mean, if it was at $15, he'd be looking at 10 grand right now for 834 people. So we're almost in the zone, right? I mean, there's obviously a little bit of love for the guy. He's almost got 1,000 people backing him. And I know I said this in previous stream, but, I can't remember the name of the author, but it was, if you can get 1,000 people to love what you do, you'll, and pay for what you do, you'll never go broke. Well, that's not true if it's a freaking Kickstarter, huh? Sorry, I get frustrated. Let me get off your screen because you don't need to see this much of me. Hey, we're back to less of me. So, I think this is a great game. I think anybody who plays roll and writes should absolutely back it. I think this dude is doing a great job. And at $7, again, just do it, right? Sorry, Nike. Don't listen. Don't listen in. But at some point, we're just going to have to recognize that this week, there's a lot of stuff that's not so much gaming. But hey, some of it was cool. So this is really I don't know. It's just a fun little anagram game, right? Or tangrams, is that what they're called? Not anagram. Oh, jeez, what's wrong with me? Tangram game, right? I don't. The only thing I'm not aware of. Okay, so here's the thing. You build them. What's cool about it is there's like a bunch of data about the actual animals, like on the back of it or something. So it's supposed to be educational, and that's cool. But the one tiny thing that I think they missed out on is there's not real gamification here. You know what I mean? Because they just show you how to make it. And that's the one missed opportunity. If there was just a deck, or no, take the cards, but remove some of the colors. Like not only do they have the colors, but they have the individual pieces. Like maybe do the colors but then take out the spaces that show you what pieces, right? There's just there's no game part of this. So, which makes it really just for little kids at this point. I think they could really have knocked this out of the park with that one extra step. As it stands, it's still a very educational, bright, colorful, little designing system. And look, kids love to just make crazy crap. So once they go through a couple of the animals, they're going to make their own stuff. So, you're going to get your money's worth from this. If they get backed, because that's currently the issue, right? They're only I don't really have any complaints here beyond I just feel like there was a missed opportunity there. And $28 for a box with a deck of cards, big deck of cards with a bunch of information, bright and colorful, and a ton of plastic pieces. This is a more than fair asking price. And I'll be honest with you, they got those stupid pop-it things, in all those weird shapes. They're like bubble wrap that just never ends. They have like Among Us ones that are $20 that's all it is. It's a pop-it. Like seriously, this is dramatically more content for a couple dollars more. If you're going to spend your money, at least get something that has more function, or at least as much function as form in this case. But like I said, but hey, maybe that's the challenge. You can make the game at home, the challenge portion. Yeah, I think this is really neat. Not necessarily my cup of tea, but I could see some potential for it. Next up. I didn't understand. Basically, I did not, and I did it again. Sorry, I'm distracted by my own thought process. I didn't get this. I talked to my buddy that owns a game store, and I was like, what is this? And as soon as I described what this thing is, it's a 5th edition book with mystical tattoos, he was like, oh, that's going to sell. And he's not wrong. Look at it. It's sitting there, almost 51,000, 2 days, 900. See, look at this, 970 backers, and they got 50 grand. And my boy with his space game had 800 plus, and he's looking at $5,000. You see, now obviously a lot of this money is going to go to production, but it's like, Tristam, you should have charged us a little more, man. You deserve it. Anyway, sorry. I continue to digress. So, this, I get like the idea that it's cool. Like this will give you these magical tattoos that you can then incorporate into the game. I guess that's cool. If I was playing a video game, that would be neat. I remember playing Fable. Was it Fable? I think it was Fable, where you could add tattoos to your guy. I did that all the time. Go in, find a new one, but they didn't do anything. They were just cool. So I get it. I guess if I liked putting tattoos on my character in a video game, then having tattoos that actually do something in a tabletop role player, then yeah, I guess there's some serious appeal there. I will say, love the art. Like, look at this. Okay, so like, apparently this tattoo literally makes something disappear for a couple days if you hit it. Great idea. I can't complain about that. But look at this. You get You get the description of what it is, and what it does, and then you get like the in-game lore about it. It's really cool. I mean, conceptually, and this artist is good, really good. So hey, look at that. Oh, right. So this is the second one. I did look this up, didn't I? Yeah. So literally within hours of this thing going up on Kickstarter, it was at 34 grand with 708 people backing it. Like instant success. And this guy has done 3 things, and this one is killing it. But I just, what is this crowd? I need to get into you guys' brains. What is this thing that people will throw so much money at supplemental materials for D&D? There is a hardcore interest here with so much disposable income. So what is this at? Sorry, let me give you the classic here. So the PDF is 15. Wait, what? Oh, thrifty tier? What is this? Tome 2. Okay, I don't... So he's got 2 price points for the same thing. So I guess it's basically, if you don't have enough money, you can get the PDF for 15. But if you really want to support me, you can get the PDF for 23. I don't think I've ever seen that. Like, I mean, I've seen tip jars before, but I've never seen that. Anyway, moving right along. So, a print code, what is that? That go through, from DriveThruRPG. Okay, so you have to, so you get the PDF and then you get a code that you can send to DriveThruRPG. And if you are not familiar with DriveThruRPG, it's a place that it prints books on demand. A lot of Kickstarters use them for, like, especially like when they do, obviously just books, but there's a lot of D&D and zine stuff that goes through that, because then you can just sell the content, and then you're not out any production costs. You're not sitting around with a bunch of copies of books that didn't sell, because they literally make them by demand through DriveThruRPG. And I mean, DriveThruRPG keeps like a lot of content on hand, so you can go there and buy books, just general. But I like this idea. So you get the print code, and then you pay extra for that once it comes through. And then here, for $50 you get the book and a PDF. You get the physical book, and then here you can get a limited edition hardcover. Huh. Anyway, I'm digressing again. I don't care for the STL for figures, whatever. I'm not a miniatures guy. Yeah. Again, I think it's an interesting concept. I guess I find it strange that this concept didn't exist, but maybe that's the thing with D&D, is that it's infinitely expandable. It's like open source coding, I guess. You get to slot in something if it works, and then people try it out. And I guess lots of people want to slap tattoos on their avatars. I guess it makes sense. I'm sure they've been describing tattoos for decades, and now you can get a tattoo that actually does something, right? Next up. Woo! Warlord Orc Duel. Wait. No, sorry. I thought this was something else. Okay. Neat concept. So what you do is you slowly reveal so this is the bad guy is at the end, and you take cards as you go. But I have notes. There was something I really wanted to point out, so I want to make sure I don't miss that. Okay, so anyway, it's sort of like war. Just the classic who's got the highest points. But unlike war, like, you slowly build, you amass the value as you play, because you're gathering stuff from the horde. And then but the cards have different abilities that you can use through paying their cost to affect each other. And you can only see the cards from the row, the top row that's exposed. And I think there's like an element to it that, yeah, so here it is. So some cards you don't want, right? Because they're going to, right? But sometimes you're trying to force your opponent to take one. You're trying to get one before them. It's like a weird cross between war and rummy, in the sense that you know in rummy you get that river, and your opponent realizes they need that that 8 that's halfway down the run, so they got to take all that stuff. You got to take everything above it. I feel like this has some elements of that. I think the art is fantastic. I like that. So this is a second way of winning, is that instead of just having like the highest player count for your team, if you collect one of each color, you win. And then in the campaign mode, you get it's like, I think you play 3 rounds, but if you win, so there's 4 like orc groups essentially, and if you win, whichever one of those orc factions you had the most of, they're now loyal to you. So now they don't do anything in the game. So all of the cards that are from that faction no longer do anything. So it's both a help and a hindrance, because some of the things they do are bad, but some of the things they do help you. So basically every time you play the game, it's going to dramatically alter how the layout affects the play, right? Because what am I saying? That was a horrible way of describing that. Every time you play through the game, there's going to be a new method of trying to beat your opponent, because there's going to be different cards that don't do anything. So it changes it up enough that I think it would make it fun to play a lot of times. Because like I said, the basic concept is pretty simple. Get the highest thing, get the highest count, defeat the warlord, and it's over. But with all these little wrinkles, I feel like it really adds a lot to it. And I think it looks good. I mean, I don't love orc. I like to play games with creatures that I feel like represent me a little better, but he's adorable, right? Look at him. Look at that little dude. He's clearly going to do something awful with that fire. Either that, or it almost looks like he caught his dinner on fire. Yeah, this is cool. I recommend this one. Let's take a look here. Yeah, come on, man. It's a deck of cards. What's the charge? What are we looking at? 1 copy, early bird, $9. Okay, so that's $12. $12 for a fun little game that you could probably knock out in 20 minutes. Oh, hey, look at that. It actually is 20 minutes. I swear to you, I wasn't looking at the screen when I saw that. All right. That I didn't get and had to have explained to me. So this is another supplement for 5th edition, right? Is this the one or is this not the one? I might have been thinking of another one. I mean, it is what I'm saying. Like, these are just cards that have items that do things. I don't know that it's specific to 5th edition, though. I think that's the only thing. Rudox cards did not end up on my notes list. So anyway, I thought that the art was out of this world. Like, that takes some serious work to create stuff like that. I love the full print to the edges. The image is there. And yeah, so it's basically, these are things that you can add to your game that do something, and they got a little QR code so you can, pull up, I'm assuming, further information. I don't know. But I do like the idea of there being, I like the concept that you could take a deck of these things if you were playing a tabletop game, and you could just, pull out like 20 of them and just designate those as rewards in your game, and then just shuffle them up and pass them out randomly. Like, it's a great way to make that happen, and you don't have to sit there and come up with all the things that it does. Like, I get the concept. It dramatically streamlines a game master's ability to make a more immersive story and reality, right? Because he doesn't have to sit there and come up with, a backstory for 50 weapons and then only pass out 5. Like, here it is, ready to go for you. And he could, they could personalize it for the game, give it a little specific lore to whatever reality you're playing. I love this cabbage head thing. Cabbage warhead. I don't know what that is, but that sounds awesome. So I get the idea. It's just, this is one of those times where I'm like, this looks so neat that I kind of wish I had a reason to have it, but unfortunately I don't. I don't play any games that require anything like this, but I could definitely think of I'm sure I would love to replace some of the crappy equipment that I get in Arkham Horror with some of the items on this list. Okay, so let's take a look at what they're charging. $23, you get a physical and a digital. $38, you get 5 decks. Are they different decks? I didn't look into that, I guess. Sorry, I'm underprepared this time. We got a card deck, 1 card deck, print and play. Okay, so it looks like there are, so I'm assuming that the tuck boxes aren't just different just to be different. So they must have different content. Well, that's cool. So, you get all of them. And you can get the digital versions for $38. Now, 3 decks for $60. I mean, I guess that's fair. It's a little less than buying. You're getting a slight discount. Instead of 23, they're 20 a pop. But I mean, I guess weighing $20 against the hours of your life that you won't be wasting coming up with this stuff. I mean, how many hours do you think it would take you to come up with this stuff and make a really cool looking implement? And do you think that $20 was worth that time that you saved? I gotta say, I would think so. All right. And what every tabletop game needs, bottle openers. In most of the games I've been in, sure. All right, let's take a look at our next one. Yes. Okay. So, with Ninth Circle, okay, this was kind of cool. And they're almost there, guys. They're so close. Okay, so here's the thing with Ninth Circle. There it is. There we go. So, each one of these little slots, these different colored slots around the outside of the circle, is interchangeable. Okay? Which means you get to shuffle them up and put them in there. And then you're only adding 9 at a time, and there's many more. And each one of those little pieces, segments of a circle, what is that? There's a geometric word for that. We won't worry about it. Anyway, each one has a different effect. And you want the effect, and the way you acquire the effects is by moving your little demon children onto it. So you get to place, I don't know what the limit is on how many you place, but I think you're allowed to move like every one of your cubes once. And so once they're placed, you have to place them one and then move them around. So if you have the most cubes on an area, well, obviously you then get the benefit. Now, here's a really, really cool change to that classic King of the Hill, in that if there are three different color set, like if three players are playing and two people have the most, they're tied with the most cubes on an area, neither one of them gets it. The person with less cubes takes control, because in the lore of this, the other two, their armies are fighting. And so while they're distracted, the person with fewer cubes actually takes control. And I love that idea. I think that is brilliant, and I think that it should happen a lot more often. Now, there's these other little bits to the game, like if one of your little minions becomes berserk, then they count for 3 cubes in the tally for that zone, but then they go away. They get wiped off the board at the end of the round. And then, like, a lot of the abilities affect other things on other areas, and it constantly changes. And then if you roll into the, what was it? When you roll into the middle, it's like you're sacrificing to this main demon, and then that gains you a favor. And then, here was the other thing that I loved, is it has the, what's the phrase? I know I have a phrase for it. It's the Mario Kart system of rubber banding. So in Mario Kart, if you're in first place, the guy in last place always gets a blue shell. And a blue shell does one thing. It goes all the way to the front and takes out the guy in first place. And also in Mario Kart, anybody who's behind, their vehicle moves a little bit faster, and whoever's at the front, their vehicle moves a little bit slower. So they called it rubber banding. This has been going on for decades. And they still do it in the game. We're up to like 9, 10 versions of it. I mean, I know we're at 8, but there were other versions that weren't numbered that aren't counted. Anyway. So this game does the same thing. If you get the most points, if you're ahead at the end of a round, well, then you get fewer cubes. And the further down the list you are, the more cubes you get. And again, that weird little function of tying, once again, benefits the people who aren't doing the best. So again, if 2 people are tied for the top spot, then they have to share the top spot. And then, so like, say they're tied for first. So they get to share that 1 extra cube in first. And then second place goes to no one, right? Because there's 2 people in first. So, and if 3 people are tied for first, then second and third place go to no one, which means that the person who had the least amount of points is getting the most cubes the next round. So it's this constantly shifting power struggle. I think it's a great idea. Well executed. And, it's got clever little design here. Lots of demon iconography, but they're kind of cute, right? They're fun, goofy. They kind of have more of a little Rabbids vibe than a, Ubisoft Rabbids, not rabbits. I can't believe that they're not quite there. It's so weird. $60, guys. I don't know. I mean, I can't speak to the quality of the pieces, but the concept is great. I think it's really well designed, and I think it's worth $60 for all this stuff. Plus, all unlocked stretch goals. So look at this. Yeah, there's all the different things, and you got your markers for who's in control of the realm. Then you got your big male bullshit guy. What's his name? Malakota. Yeah. Get it. Back it. Come on. It looks fun, right? Of course it does. Why are we even discussing this? All right. Next up. Yeah. So what we have here is another game that has some really good complexity of choice. Hard choices in a very straightforward, simple game. Now, I think this game is great. We're gonna go serious again, guys. Sorry. Get ready for this. All right. I think this game is great. Like I said, it was almost the Thunderdog this week. We don't do runners up yet, anyway. So I'm sorry about that. But this is fantastic, but I have to make a very serious and strong recommendation. The only reason I love this game so much is because I read the rules. But the rules aren't here. And when I went to their website to click on the rules, the rules weren't there either, because they're currently in the process of starting this really cool idea with this other website that's about it's about mythical creatures, like a horror experience. Anyway, I'm selling something else. That's not what. Let's get back. So because they're building that, things are in transition, which meant that the rules weren't where they were supposed to be. It was like a 404 error. So I couldn't even. So I still had to go. I did extra digging just to find that, and it didn't work. I ended up finding the rules by going on to. Well, that would be the sound of an external hard drive spinning up for some reason. It's done. Okay. I had to go to Board Game Geek to their previous release to get the rules. That was too much effort. Put the rules here. You need to put the rules here because once I found those rules, this game was great. Okay, so look at this. Look what we got here. You lay down 9 cards. Okay? 2 legs, hand, waist, hand, arm, torso, arm, head, right? But you lay them down like this with this, just these body parts pictures, right? And then you have a hand of 3 cards, and you choose to place a body part from your hand. Now, every body part has a point value, and it does something. Okay. However, with the way I understand it is every body part does the same. Every body part of the same type does the same thing. So I think like the left hand. If you place a left hand, then everybody trades their entire hand of cards to the left, and the same with the right. And you can see how that could screw you. And then I think like the head lets you look at the face down cards. Okay, but I think that there also might be on certain body parts, there's an additional feature, or it somehow mitigates the effect that it's supposed to do. And the less powerful the effect, the more points the body part is worth. And so what you're trying to do is you're trying to build a creature with the most points. And you're drawing cards from a central pile, and at any point someone can call the lightning, which means that's like basically you're saying we're about to end this stuff, right? Because then the final step is somebody plays throw the switch, And then whatever you have, you add it up, and that's what you get. Really simple and straightforward, but unbelievably difficult choices going through. Like, if you have 3 cards in your hand that are amazing, the last thing you want to do is play a hand card onto the table, right? But also, you desperately don't want them to play one and swap you out. But, maybe you'll hold on to a card that has, like, a fantastic effect but is worth crap points, and just hold on to it, hoping that someone will swap your hands out so that they get hosed with that card that they can't use, right? There's a lot of stuff that can go on there. I think it's great. What's even better is it's a limited edition now. This is the first run. They all came in it. So they came in VHS boxes, like classic crap plastic VHS cases. I love this idea. Look at these things. You get your decks of cards in there, and they have like creature feature and creature feature in space. This is great. Yeah, so I'm explaining it, and it was right here because I'm a genius. This is fantastic, and I'm not saying that it would suddenly be through the moon in funding if they had the rules there, but I can't imagine it would hurt. And like I said, I was so dramatically more invested once I truly understood how it works. Like, this gives you an idea, but it does not let you know. It does not tell you anything about how each one of these body parts has an assigned effect. So every time you play this a part in here in the shoulder, every time you play it, that thing always happens, and then it seems like it's just the card will change the power of that, and then every card is worth more. Like, heads are worth 3 points, right? And so anyway, all of that information really sold me. Like, that's what made me go, oh, I want this thing, right? And you can get, look at this, $10. And you get, right there, Creature Features printed card deck. $10. You get the digital book. You get print on demand code. Okay, they're going through Squid Ink. Okay, so they're not going through drive-through. But anyway, you get the print and play. You get a book, a digital book, and then you get a printed deck. Like, $10? Come on. This is why they came so close to being the Funderdog this week. I think this is really a fantastic game. Oh, here. Let me make this better. It's Creature Features. I think it's fantastic. Highly recommend it. The style is very kitschy and cool. $10. See, but here it's I think it's $25, and you can still. There's only 62 total available left, but you can get in there, and you can get one of these VHS cases. Come on. Oh, man. All right. Okay. What is a printed demand? So who are they going through their printed demand? They are using Drive-Thru-RPG. There we go. There's a second one through Drive-Thru-RPG. Shout out to Drive-Thru. I like them. They do some good work. All right. Next up. Dead Cells. So, clearly, wait, probably not clearly. Let me fix that. Clearly, they're doing just fine. 5,000 backers. Okay, let me just say it up front. I've played the video game Dead Cells, and I had a ball. It was really, really good. It's a roguelite in that you acquire currency that will allow you to unlock things that will make your subsequent. So you're supposed to play through the game. You run from left to right, you kill stuff, and then you try to get to the end and kill the big boss. But it's physically impossible for you. Well, I shouldn't say that. There's probably some speedrunner out there that can beat it right from the go. But so anyway, so the way the game works, you in the video game. Go from left to right. You collect weapons. You kill some dudes. They drop stuff. You can find stuff in chests. It'll be weapons, and it'll also be, I think it's cells, right? Dead cells. This is the currency. You equip the weapons. You can swap them out. You can get better ones. But all the weapons do really different things, so it's like up to your playstyle, and then you go through and you get your butt handed to you constantly, right? But that's a function of the game. It's the way it works. What you're supposed to do is then go back to the starting point and then spend your cells to unlock new weapons or better versions of the weapons or armor or whatever, and then you keep going through, and every time you go through, you get a little better, you get a little stronger, you get and over and over and over, and that's what it is. And so they've taken that concept and they've brought it here. Now, they are at a slight advantage in that the art already exists, right? So, and it was really good. It was like a 16-bit kind of RPG, almost 32-bit. Like, it was really well done. But they've brought that methodology to this game. So, and these are all like the different heroes. And in a unique twist, they've made it co-op, multiplayer co-op. And that's what this. Oh wait, down here. This little thing is like a representation of all the different guys that you can be, which I gotta say, I really love this dude leaping up here with that. That is pretty cool, but I do not need that. So you make your way through, you choose your path, you run into different things depending on the path you take, and then you can go out the door, but like this door, you can't go out until you have whatever this is, right? And that happened throughout the game. You take the dudes out. So this guy's got the twin daggers, which are very fast, but they have a short range. And again, I'm just basing this on the video game because I played it so much. When you come back, you spend your little chips, you get better, rinse and repeat. So let's get down. Okay, so here's what's also very cool. In the video game, they have what's called biomes, which is like different locations that have radically different visual styles. And so this one is like the castle tops segment. Whereas the other one that we saw is the dungeons. And it's the same thing. If you unlock the door that takes you here, then you go through the path. So you can come up here and there's a chest there, but then here and here are going to be bad guys. Now, do you want to waste time going back here to take him out? Well, maybe, because then you're going to get some extra stuff, but you definitely want the chest. Then you come down and then you can unlock whatever this is, which will give you some kind of benefit, then you keep going. And I don't know how many of these boards there are, but there were at least 4 that I saw. So this is like the central home of where your guy gets leveled up. And in an interesting little twist, it has these like, it's like a binder, so you can slip the cards in so they don't go loose. I got to be honest, now that I'm looking at this is one of those moments where you look back and you're like, why the hell has this not been everywhere? I love this idea, right? So now you don't have to worry about, somebody knocks your cards or whatever, particularly when you have so many cards laying down. This would save a lot of trouble in a lot of other games. Just absolutely brilliant. So this is like the combat, and I didn't really track how the combat works in the game, but I definitely got the sense that like you kill someone, and then the other ones slide down, and then whoever's not dead, they all attack you. So it can get pretty scary there. Okay, so there are 4 locations, and then I know that on the deluxe tier, these boards for your character are, you guessed it, recessed. Oh yeah, it's nothing better than slotting a cube into a little crevice, right? Let me walk that back. There's nothing better than slotting a cube into a space made for it. Yeah, it's that, getting that key in the lock right there. I don't need to recommend this because these guys are doing just fine, but I gotta say it does look pretty cool. And they're not like, these are not obnoxiously overdone. Like, these guys are just doing good, right? $500,000, I mean, that's nothing to sneeze at. Come on. But they're doing just fine. Let's see. What's the cost per? So $67 for just the game. I gotta be honest. That is a lot of stuff. I feel like that's fair. Bear in mind though, you're going to be paying between $20 and $30 for shipping once it gets here. So that's really closer to $100. So not. Oh yeah, and at 86, where you get the sandwich board. Why do I always forget what that's called? It's the double layer board. You get the double layer board that allows you to put the little things in the recessed slots, and probably the nicer acrylic components. I mean, yeah, is it worth an extra $19? Probably. Oh, and you also, see, hell, you could probably get it for $67. You just got rid of this thing. Nobody needs this. What are you doing? Oh gosh, I'm such a moron. I did it again. I'm so sorry, folks. So the little joke that I was making is that nobody needs this excessively large chunk of plastic to denote where they are, and that this piece of plastic is basically what's making this thing cost another $19. I mean, if you're into it, get it. I don't think it's doing anything so amazing that I would recommend it over much of anything else. It seems interesting, but I don't feel where the hard choices are here. I would imagine they're probably on what your upgrades are at the end. But unfortunately, this game falls into the abyss for me of I'd probably rather just play the video game. I already own it. I'd probably just rather do that. If I'm going to play a board game, I'm not going to bust out a board game of a video game. Typically, unless it does something radically different. But here they adhered so closely to the design philosophy of the video game that it really is just like playing the video game, it looks like. So, hey, if you don't play video games, then yeah, this is probably right up your alley. Go grab it. I personally would say just get the $67 one. And then, actually, if I'm being completely honest, I'd say just wait till Miniature Market has it on sale for $45 and pick it up there and pay $5 in shipping and then go to Etsy and get your extra bits. But I really shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that. It's not nice. Mac, you're just not a nice guy sometimes. Gotta stop that. All right, before I get meaner. And I did it again because I'm just so distracted. It's $340,000 for a trading card game that is not going to be available in the stores. So you have to buy all of your boosters now. You got to buy boxes and boxes of boosters if you want to get this whole thing. I do not understand why these things do so well on Kickstarter. I get why the other stuff that I was like, I just didn't understand why people wanted the things. Then once I understood why people wanted those books for 5th edition, then I got it. Like, okay, once I knew why they wanted them, then it makes total sense why they do well. But this, I do not like. I love trading card games. I would never get into a trading card games and I need boosters through Kickstarter because you can't get more. And who's going to drop $800 to get enough booster boxes to actually fill their count? And also, who are we kidding here? This is Lilith from, you know what? That's right. Oh, wait. It's Lilith's older sister, Morrigan. Right there. You telling me that's not Morrigan? Seriously? Ugh. I mean, if you're going to crib from something that, like, everybody in the world doesn't know, Or, I mean, everybody who's ever played a fighting game, which is it's definitely 2/3 of Japan. Anyway, sorry. I don't understand why people back these things. Look at this. Where is it? $310. $500 to get 6 boosters and a couple of starters. $620 for 6 boosters. 12 blisters. Oh, you're buying individuals. Jeez, oh man. I can't take it. All right. So, hey, if you like trading card games and you have $1,000 you just want to throw away, here you go. I'm sorry. This is not what this is supposed to be about. Okay. I'm just frustrated. I get very frustrated with trading card games in general. I think it's predatory and exploitative in general. That has nothing to do with these guys. That has nothing to do with Kickstarter. That's just how I feel about those games. I am not looking forward to Disney Lorcana coming out this year because my kid is old enough to play games, and he likes Disney. And if he sees that thing, I do not want to feed that demon. There's plenty of other games. I do not want to chase those things. I hate chasing boosters. I think it is horrible. You end up with a bunch of wasted cardboard that you're never going to use, taking up space, and you're never satisfied, right? It's never enough, because by the time you get close enough to getting all the cards you think you want, there's another set, right? And I mean, but that's the whole point, right? They got the psychology down. You get the dopamine hit every single time you open a pack. There are literally, I've seen interviews with people who do YouTube channels where all they do is open packs, and they show the analytics. Literally, everybody switches off as soon as the pack is open. However, some of them don't do anything else, and their biggest numbers, the largest viewership is almost exclusively the pack opening. We are addicted to this concept. I get it. You want to see the new thing. I don't understand why you want to watch somebody else get something that you want. That is weird to me. I mean, it feels like watching your best friend make out with the girl you're after. You know what I mean? It's like, I mean, I guess I'm happy for you. Ugh. I don't want to watch some guy get a shiny Charizard, right? Like, I didn't get one, I don't even know if that's a thing. I mean, I know Charizard's a thing. I don't know if there's a shiny one. So there goes my pen. So anyway, I find I'm not a fan of trading card games, collectible card games. It feeds a beast that becomes difficult to control, and so I avoid them now. And I just don't, and just looking at this thing, I mean, well, let me stop proselytizing and just get back onto this. We're looking at pledge 1,200 or more. Oh my, all gone? You kidding me? 35 people spent $2,100 on this. The 3,200 level is gone. Oh, you're kidding me. No. Reward no longer available. People spent $6,000. $6,000. $6,000 on this. $6,000. How about we move on to... actually do that. I forgot. Yay. Yeah. So, I like this game. Love this game. Now, they are funded, okay, but barely. This is there is so much good stuff going on in this. So there are spells that you can perform. So you have your little Pente glass pieces, right? Anybody remember Pente? And you move these around. Can you only move one? Hold on, let's go check. I don't want to be wrong. So, yes. So you can only move once. Okay. You can move one piece. So you start here. There's only 2 players. You start in your color-coded zone, and you can move one. And then once nothing's in there, the next turn you can put another one in, right? So you're working your way around the board, right? You can only... And okay. Oh, God, there's so much in here that's cool. So when you place a piece, so let's say like right here, there is, so here you can place a piece adjacent to your own. That's a rule. Now there's some things that can mitigate that rule, but you place a piece. So if you placed one here, it would have to move back, and it can only move, if it can move back, it will. So if it moved back here, then it would knock this one would knock this one would knock this one, and this one would get knocked over there, right? I think that's the way it works. But if it can't go, so like, where's an example? I think there's an example down here. Let me show you. So come on, Mac, don't be lacking. I'm sorry, guys. I'm scrolling through everything. Okay, so it's not there. So basically, if you try to knock a piece, but behind it is not its own pieces, but only your pieces, then it gets destroyed and it's gone. Now, let's do this. So, as you go through here, what you're trying to do is you're trying to acquire these spells. Now, you don't actually acquire them. What you can do is you can fill it up, and once you control it, when you have the majority, you can activate it, but then it costs you, but the fewer pieces you have on it, the more it costs you to do it. You activate the spell, and the spell does something, right? And obviously something awesome if it's the 5, right? And the 3 does something cool. And then the 1s are probably, something simple, like you can, place a piece that doesn't have to be touching one of yours. I should also mention you can move 2 pieces in a turn. It's called sprinting. If you spend 2 pieces. So if you give up 2 pieces, you can move another piece. But that's super costly, and that feels like a real last-ditch maneuver. Anyway, so what you're trying to do is acquire these spells. I think you're trying to get towards the center. I actually don't even know what the winning condition is. Okay, that's how cool the mechanics were, that I didn't even care about the winning condition because this game, not only are these spells on here, they're removable. Like, I think you can swap them out and put in other ones. But when you use one of these spells, you see these the die on each of these. What happens is when you use one of these, this is a brilliant mechanic that I think I really want to see in more things. Once you use this spell, you put a die on it, right? And so you put it with the 1 on it. And you have to wait a turn before it can be used again. But you're not going to be using it next turn because it's got 5 and you lose pieces whenever you cast one of these spells. Now, this is what this in the middle is mana. So the more mana you have, the less the spell costs you. So you have to have all 5 to cast it, but if you have like 2 mana, then when you cast it, you'll only lose 3 of your pieces. That's how that works. So this is the brilliance here. This lock goes down to 1. But the next time you use the spell, it goes to 2. and now you have to wait 2 turns. So every time you use the more powerful stuff, so the spells only cost 1, they're never locked. But so every time you use the more powerful spells, they become harder to use. They take longer to build up. That is great. What a difficult choice to have to work through. Let's find out what it says. Maybe we'll find out what the win condition is. Sorry, we'll swap this out with, nope, here we go. Singles 2-player. Sorry, I really just kind of want to know now. You can see, okay, so here's the example. So, like, this guy can't go anywhere, so he's hosed. But that guy could go somewhere, and if you put a blue there, they can escape. I might have been wrong about the cascading domino effect. That might not have been true. That might have just been my fever dream of hope. Okay, I just want to get to ending the game. Either player ends a turn with a 3 stone or greater advantage at the end of the turn in which either player casts their 6th spell. Oh, so that makes the locking mechanism even cooler. Because it prevents you from getting to the end state. Oh, that is great. Okay, so the 3-stone advantage is basically from all those things that happen where you crush another players or they spend some of their stones to get something. So spending stones to do a move is not just expensive but dangerous because you're giving your opponent an advantage. So now this game becomes I was yelling at you and you couldn't see me. So now the game becomes this this constant tension, this tug of war of getting more pieces, so you want to, if you get lucky and you knock out one of their pieces, then that gives you the advantage on the next turn that you can then waste one of your pieces to do a double move. Oh, there's some really good stuff in here. I really like this game, which is why it's this. Eventually I'll work that out and it'll work better. So this is our Funderdog for the week sigil. Let me split screen it up so we can see it. Bum bum bum. Sigil. Here are let me give you instead this. So base game, $39. There you go. Great looking game. I love little glass beads. I think this thing is fantastic. I highly recommend this game. Let's give a shout out to Jasper from Pine Island Games. Really good job, sir. I think this was just well thought out. I love this design. It just harkens back to so many video games and books and art that I love. It's suggestive without being over the top. Yeah. And it's a big circular board. You don't see a lot of those. All right. So I guess that's the end of that. So thanks for joining on, what is this, the third week of Kickstarter with Funderground. There weren't a lot of news pieces this week. Looks like, though, there's going to be some brewing, some bubbling and brewing. There's some layoffs happening. May have to bring that up. I also received a Kickstarter. Was delivered. I have it. It showed up after last week's episode. So this is super cool. I'm going to play this with my kid because you have to seal books by playing letters. You play letters into words that match the need. So this says foods, so you need to make words that total 8 letters to food, bread, water, whatever. If you can get 3-letter words, whatever, you just have to make enough words that you clear the hurdle of the total number of letters for it, and then you seal the book. It's cooperative, so the other person has to also seal their book, and then once those 2 books are sealed, you move on to the darker book, and then you got to seal that, and then the whole time there are bad guys that are cards that you draw, and every time the card is drawn, it activates the bad guy's power. And in a fun little twist, all these dudes are the bad guys, and they're great character designs. Look at this. Get that up there. Look at that. Look at those. The little kid with the wait, am I doing it right? No, over here. The kid with the candy cane. So, love the art. I backed it almost a year and a half ago. Things have been taking a while. But what's really cool is with the bad guys, once you put the card out on a track, right? So you got a track of them. You put the card out and it activates. But then there's multiples of the bad guys, and they have different, I think they have different levels of their power or slight alterations on it. But the thing is, when you draw another one, you put it on top, and then it activates all the previous activations. Wow. So I can see a lot of big no moments happen in that, which, that's why we play these games, right? So not a lot of news now. I'm feeling there's going to be some more next week. I'm going to be playing Masters of the Universe this week with somebody. That was delivered to stores, got that in, and I never had the toys when I was a kid, but the show was out and it was goofy and fun, and apparently the game is awesome. And it apparently lets you play co-op, one versus many, 1v1, and then all of those scenarios you can play as either the good guys or the bad guys. So if you want to, you can go be Skeletor and just kick the crap out of the game itself, or you can be Skeletor and your buddy can be Evil Lyn, and you go and defeat He-Man, which I gotta believe has gotta be insanely hard, right? Because he's gonna, I have the power, the crap out of you, right? I'm assuming. All right, I'm digressing. So, thanks for showing up, folks. We'll see you next week. Sigil is the Thunder Dog for this week. All of the games that were mentioned are in the description, and then when this is over, I'll add the Thunder Dog to the description because I don't like to give that one away beforehand. I'm willing to let you follow along with everything else, but the Thunder Dog, that's a reveal, because otherwise I don't get to do this, right? I need a reason to press a button, all right? All right. We'll see you next week. Or, yeah, we'll probably see you next week. Hopefully, right?